Twig, you must be absolutely thrilled with the win and more importantly how the boys went about it on Sunday.
Yeah, I think mostly how they went about it. Josh, the endeavour and intent around ball and contest area was really strong. I thought a follow-up, especially if we lost the contest around the midfield, their follow-up to go and close out with Boyd, Lowe, Cootie, Alec Wright, Ben Simpson all did it really well, Kennelly. So I think they created a lot of loose ball opportunities for us through our pressure skills. So yeah, I think the way that we approached the game, it was an entertaining way of playing with the competing, but also how we were able to capitalise off the top of turnover.
Yeah, it was a pretty good crowd in on Sunday, and we had the 84 and 14 reunion. Must have been good to play an exciting brand of footy, get a really good win on a very big day for our footy club. Yeah,
well, I thought our club was excellent all week with how it's a fair bit to take on, 2 reunions in the 1 week, and ironically both 84 and 14 played against Port Adelaide, so it's a big deal, and we've got a responsibility as the current group of coaches, staff and players to really fulfil our end of the bargain in weeks and games like that, and thankfully the players did. All the credit goes to the players, the way they approached the week. Our leaders were excellent. Kennelly, Hurd, Donnelly and Seymour and Hamilton, but then Donnelly, Graham, some of the other, McLean, Callow, all those guys took a lot of responsibility on this week, how they wanted to approach the week and how we demand more of each other, but also the way we go about our work with our training, and that was evident to see on the game that they were right into the game mentally, which then the ability of the group really came to the fore from there.
Yeah, how much of a theme was the reunions throughout the week in the prep?
Yeah, quite a reasonable amount. It was touched on right from the outset about what it means to the club, and we were thankful enough and fortunate enough to have Neil Baum come and be part of a training on Saturday morning and speak to the group, and he was outstanding, and the reverence for Neil was really obvious amongst the staff and players. And then we want to make sure 14 got the fair capture as well, not just 84, and so the players watched a 6.5 minute capture of the 2014 grand final. A lot of them were unaware of how the game played out, and then given that Matt Panos was playing and him being a current teammate, it was a big deal. So Matt spoke to the group pre-game yesterday about what 14 meant, but also the alignment of 24 to 14. So there are a lot of good parts that were touched on, and the greatest risk is getting caught up in it too much and thinking that's going to deliver the result for you, but thankfully it was our actions and deeds that were able to do that.
Yeah, you must have been thrilled with the midfield on Sunday. It was 35 plus contested possessions, which led to 40 plus inside 50s. That's a domination.
Yeah, well, I think Boyd was absolutely sensational. He was preparing probably for Soldo for most of the week, possibly Jordan Sweet early in the lead, then he was preparing for Soldo, and then he gets Vicentini, and yeah, he was terrific. How he competed, followed up, neutralised and nullified any of Vicentini's influence. And as we said, we've got strong players around the midfield, and we're starting to create quite a number who can go through there. We put Callow through the middle for periods of short bursts at centre bounce. Lowe's become a next level midfielder. Simpson's grown his game. Carroll, Creswell and Wright on the wings were very pleasing. So Cootie makes a massive difference. Even just our week on the track, his personality and his enthusiasm has an effect on the group. So the midfield was strong, but I would also say our backline were very good at their contest play, especially early in the game when the heat was on, and were able to service the forwards pretty strongly.
You mentioned a couple of those players there, but Simpson, Gale, Wright and Carroll have all come into the side in recent weeks and played their role pretty well.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, I think the challenge through the Woodville and Sturt period to come into the team when we weren't playing as well, if you're an inexperienced new player coming in and the team's not functioning at its best, it's harder for them to perform. But I think it showed yesterday when the team was functioning at its capability, all those players you mentioned were able to play their part quite strongly, and it was pleasing to see. I think we'd all be pretty keen to get O'Neill back in the team and Ling back in the team. We probably won't have Nelligan for a while, and it'd be handy to have Panos back in, but at the attrition of a footy season, you need to be able to have your next layer of players emerging and ready to go when the opportunity presents. And thankfully our players who have spent time in the reserves have come up and performed, and there's also a reasonable handful at the moment that will be ready for selection as well if called upon.
Yeah, Ling hasn't been out there the last couple of weeks, but I thought Alistair Lord was outstanding on Sunday.
Yeah, well, the Ling, Lord, Murley crew were pretty good for the first 8 weeks, and going to throw Hamilton back there, and so those three smalls with their speed, their capacity to defend and close space quickly, really make a big difference to our team. But Lord's been very consistent all year and grown his game pretty much each week, and he had the responsibility of Francis Evans when he was forward yesterday, and I'm a big fan of Evans. I think he's a good player, and Lord takes on those jobs with great enthusiasm. And I thought Murley's game was really strong yesterday, and probably Hamilton's best game as well. But you combine those guys with Hurd, Donnelly, Seymour and Graham, that was a really strong part of the team's performance yesterday. And sometimes when you get the inside 50 differential, like you said, it's not just about the mid-forward, it's actually how the backs set the ground up and win their contest, probably higher away from goals. So I was very pleased with the backline's growth, and they're doing a great job with their coach Shane Hickey, who's been excellent with them this year.
Yeah, it looks like Nordy's a much loved member of the team, kicked his first goal and no one could catch him afterwards.
Yeah, it was surprising how a defender and up down the forward 50 having a shot at goal. But no, sometimes it forced you to defend higher on the ground when our forwards were trying to get outlet kicks. And yeah, I love seeing our crowd come to life when Lord kicked that goal. It energised our group. He's a popular guy, like you said. And yeah, to see the reaction at that stage of the game, it sort of captured what the day was about for the club.
Yeah, the reserves had a great win as well. Must have been really good for them to come back from a big deficit when lots of injuries have run through that team, and must have been good for them to get a win.
Yeah, it was, Josh, and big deal to have Sanders come back. Sanders had a major setback. There was minimal chance he would come back this year, and he's back by round 11. Brody Carroll's come back from a pretty serious concussion. Tahini's come back after knee reconstruction. Sermon's only played the one game this year, so he comes back, and Locke comes back after a couple of games out as well. There's a fair bit of seniority there and some popular figures within the group. And for that game to be, I think we're down at three-quarter time and kick 4 goals 7 to 2 points or whatever it was in the last quarter, was really enjoyable to watch, and very pleased with the performance of the reserves yesterday.
Yeah, South Adelaide at Noarlunga. It's a tough road trip, isn't it?
Yeah, it always is. It doesn't really matter what stage of the season, ladder position. South and us have always had good contests. It's been small margins either way pretty much every time since I've been in South Australia, and I really liked their last few weeks. They played really well, so there's enough there. Much and Davis are really good players, and Skinner's a good player down back, and Fitt and Wilkinson up forward always ask a lot of questions. So yeah, our preparation really begins now after reviewing consistently against Port about what's going to set our week up the best for South on Sunday.
Yeah, well, it must have been important to actually, we're playing the bottom team in Port, but it must have been important to get the win after 2 losses in a row.
Yeah, it was more a way of playing, the first question you asked me. And the other thing when you play Port or the Crows, it's always circumstantial each week as to their availability. And the one stage during the week looked like they had 15 or 16, which would have been the most they've had all year. And I think they went at 13 in the end, and they were a bit hobbled by the end. I think young Charlison missed a fair bit, and Marshall was out with concussion, so they're probably down to 2 and possibly only 1 on the bench in the last quarter. So that's just the attrition of a game. But yeah, really for me, it doesn't matter on the ladder position when it comes to Oppo. It's very much where they sit in their most recent, probably fortnight of form, and what their availability is like, and that'll be the same with South this week.
Yeah, and to kick 122 points must have been a real win for you.
I like knowing that we can score when we have good contest wins and make good turnovers, but I'm pretty proud of the 39 points we kept them to as well. It's a big deal when you've got defensive integrity when it comes to what's going to stack up at the key times of the year in big games. But I do enjoy watching the score, Josh. I don't want to get that misread at all, but I've got a high weighting towards defensive integrity but how we score off turnover, and that was a really strong part of our game.
Perfect. Thanks, Twig.
Very much.